than 90,000 reports of suspected abuse.
No doubt they save lives, but all too often attorneys say children are taken from innocent parents.
Tonight, 7 Action News reporter Kim Russo shows us why it's so important to know your rights if CPS comes calling.
We want to be clear. This story is not against Child Protective Services or police. People who investigate child abuse dedicate their lives to saving kids, and they do just that. But sometimes there are mistakes. It costs one woman everything. She wants to make sure people know it can happen.
There is no amount of compensation that can ever get back what I've lost.
Julie Balmer lost almost everything when she tried to do the right thing. When her sister said she couldn't raise her newborn son, Julie took in baby Philip and offered to adopt him. Then when he was 5 weeks old, he suddenly stopped eating.
When the results came back, they said that there was bleeding in the brain.
A doctor at the hospital diagnosed him with shaken baby syndrome. Julie, in her 20s, with few resources, found herself unable to pay a doctor to review that diagnosis at trial. She was sent to prison for 15 years. After almost 5 years in prison, the Innocence Project helped exonerate her. An expert found an MRI that proved little Philip suffered a stroke, not trauma. However, by then, Philip had been permanently adopted. She had no right to see him.
To be told that I would have no contact with him, that's a cross that I'm going to bear for the rest of my life. That's a heartache.
Do I think the system works? No.
Child Protective Services defense attorney Sonia Cannon says all parents need to be aware. Even the innocent can find themselves under investigation for child abuse.
You better contact an attorney, and you better do it immediately.
It can happen at a hospital with an unexplained illness, or if your child says something that raises a red flag at school.
We don't need a warrant. We're CPS. We don't need a warrant.
This is video posted online by a local mom investigated after her special needs son said at school she didn't feed him when she says she simply changed his diet. Would you know what to do? She told the CPS worker, an attorney told her to ask what the allegations were before deciding whether to let her in the house.
Who told her that?
The attorney.
I don't know. Don't call these attorneys because they don't know what they're talking about.
Technically, this woman doesn't have to let her in her home.
Attorney Cannon says this is a big question parents have, and you can see why. She recommends parents ask the allegations and then, based on that information, decide should they call an attorney or let the worker into their home because the home will help prove the allegations are false. After all, while the investigator does need a warrant to force entry, if you don't let them in, they may ask a judge to remove your children pending an investigation.
We are in the state of Michigan. Do you understand what we do?
Yes, I do.
We can't remove children.
Julie says the devastating lesson she learned is don't let the fact you know you are innocent result in you letting your guard down.
So as a layperson, you put your trust in them, and you don't expect the system to fail. And unfortunately, the system failed. And I just happen to be a victim of that.
Attorneys say if parents do speak to a child abuse investigator, be it a CPS worker or doctor, it is not a bad idea to grab your phone and calmly say you plan to record the interaction so there are no misunderstandings. A lot is at stake. The state has also provided this pamphlet to help educate parents about this process with the goal of protecting children. We'll have a copy of it at our website, WXYZ.com. In the newsroom, Kim Russell, 7 Action.